Alright, guys. Other than Brad's amazing quest, which he'll be working on later, his 5 tavern brawls. And...
Which you can't work on right now.
Oh, really? Why?
Tavern Brawl's closed through Tuesday or something.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about Tavern Brawl.
It's really fun. There aren't very many prizes for doing it. You get the occasional quest like I have, and you get the 1 pack for the first win. Other than that, it's pretty much a fun thing.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk more about, but basically, Blizzard, with Hearthstone and Heroes of the Storm, has really cornered the casual market. They realize that that's the best market with things like World of Warcraft, right? A very casual, like, there are competitive elements to it. You can be serious about playing those games, but, I mean, the real money is in just the everyday Joes, not being super, super hardcore or anything like that. But anyway.
Yeah, you can buy as many packs as you want, though.
It's true. And Brad helped out them because of their great service and because he loves packs.
Yeah.
And we'll start with one of these old leather-bound ones first, not excitingly. See if
these are classic packs you get from playing in the arena and stuff like that.
And this is the back from Heroes of the Storm. I actually got it the other day. Me and Brad are both playing Heroes of the Storm, as is Ash and some of our other friends. We might stream that later if you guys want to see us play poorly at Heroes of the Storm. I'm level like 20. Brad's 40.
Maxed out, yeah.
Is 40 the max?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
I've been playing since beta, so.
A while. Anyway, so I'm still relatively new. Brad's been around the block a minute.
Yeah, I've got several of the characters unlocked now. It's quite fun to switch
Between
them all and play them competently.
Which one of these is feeling lucky?
Let's go with the top middle.
All right. The classic luck one. Knife Juggler, not a bad card. I think this is still just one of the best cards you see in Constructed and Arena in this game. It's very solid all around. My choice was much worse.
Is that an epic? Nice.
Yeah,
I actually don't think I had 2 of those before, so that's pretty good.
You can give +5 attack. You have a 10-5 or a
usually do the
5-10
top mode.
Yeah, that's the 5 toughness. This is not that great.
I actually think that's in the deck that I play.
Oh, that's cool. Flesh-Eating Ghoul, Wind Fury Harpy, and Athari Weaponsmith.
Nice.
That's a sweet little card. I like that. All right, let's open this last leather-bound pack. Hello, listen up. And then we'll go on to the big and new one. I'll actually have Brad take over because he hasn't got a chance to open these, and we opened.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And he needs to. I mean, the one thing that Magic has over this game is when you physically hold a pack of Magic and open it, it's like a little bit of Christmas.
And we're gonna do that later, actually.
We are. We'll redo that. We're gonna do a fat pack. I got this for us to open, and we'll be talking a little bit about. First of all, we'll be doing for each pack, talking about first picks, and Brad's gonna open some stuff while we're doing this, which is better than that. What we would do for each hypothetical pack draft, and then kind of a sealed. Hey,
golden rare.
That's pretty good. And then we'll also kind of show the cards off. Anyway, that's coming later. Right now, we're doing Hearthstone. Me and Brad are about to switch spots, and he's about to show us all of that sweet, sweet tournament arena play. Another rare. All right.
That was pretty good packs.
Places.
All right. Should we turn on some sound so that people can hear the computer yell rare at us?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Brad's better about this than me.
There's some cords over here. One of them controls.
Right, I'm gonna drag it over. Drag it over. Oh, here it comes. It's a bustin'. I'm gonna open this first one while Brad's doing that.
Oh yeah, seriously.
King's Elec. We talked about this cool. The battle cry effect, which is interesting. When you reveal a minion in your deck and you do the higher cost, you hello Realtek HD Audio Manager.
Yep, that's how you know it's working. Bam.
So battle cry is an interesting mechanic in that people will often have high cards to kind of counter it. It's not a reliable one. Wrathguard, I like that card. It's kind of a high risk high reward card though because there are so many cards that take extra damage. But if you're the aggressive player, it can often pay out pretty well. It's just a terrible card to put out if your life total is in danger. Tournament attendee.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, a very specific card. Like with the power of the extra demons, they just wanted a kind of a hoser to make sure that it was okay. But generally, it's just
the silencing is actually very useful.
Yeah, it can be used on offense or defense because it's all classes.
I think this pack we got what 2 rares?
Yeah,
golden. That's pretty cool. All right, I think we have to relaunch Hearthstone to get it to make sounds, so that's gonna be annoying.
Hopefully the sound returns.
No. Turns out it does not.
Maybe, okay. We're having technical difficulties.
Here we go.
We can hear it now.
That's the problem. It was too low.
Like a limbo. Oh, here we go. Hey.
All right.
I kind of like the look of it. I
You,
like the
you
arena.
have to watch the animation every time. It's both good and bad.
So I had a lot of hard time saying Gadgetzan Jouster at first. Gadgetzan Jouster, because that's a mouthful. Go ahead and say Gadgetzan.
Gadgetzan? Yes.
It's a hard word to say. Dark Bargain. Destroy 2 random enemy minions. Discard 2 random cards.
So I have seen the Blunderbuff Valiant being used in Shaman decks before. You pump out a load of tokens and then give them all
Then
plus attack
Inspire
and send them
ability
all out there.
is powerful. When we're doing this review, when I first saw the ability, I predicted cards that would let us use Inspire multiple times, and then as many times as you want, and I saw those cards. Like, I felt pretty clever identifying that the cards that existed were going to exist. Feeling clever is the real reason to play card games, guys.
I'd agree with that.
It's a little loud. It's a little not loud enough. Pitfire. Just a really all-around okay card.
It really is.
Rare. Ram Wrangler. That's fun to say.
This is actually a pretty good card. I've seen this played a lot.
You have a couple of them. Couple of Ram Wranglers.
2 Pit Fighters in 1 pack. Impressive.
Yeah. Rare. Knight of the Wild.
The Inspire ability is pretty neat. It's got 8 health, so take a little while to die. And if you're, say, playing Priest, you can gain 4 health a turn. That's pretty neat.
I wasn't impressed, though, because it doesn't have taunt. It needs taunt. It's a mostly useless card.
That's
on
true.
the
If
board.
it had taunt, it would be much better.
Like the totem card we saw was a lot more exciting. Some of these cards just are close to playable, but not quite there. Mulch, destroy a minion, add a random minion to. This is the kind of card, Mulch, where you need to be. Oh, Wall of Spiders is so good. It's so. Remember, those 3 Whip Spinners summon a random beast as well.
Oh, yes. But they actually put a beast card in your hand when they die.
Oh, in your hand.
Yeah. Didn't realize this was a great card until someone played it against me, and I was like, oh, yeah, those things.
Yes.
That gives them 3 more cards. So what I did was ignore the web spinners for the rest of the match.
Do they not just attack their Web Spinners into your creatures?
I don't think they lived very long.
Oh, okay.
So,
But I mean, Ball of Spiders does basically say if you survive a turn with these creatures, you can kill them yourself, or they'll kill something else.
and then keep going. I've seen people play this one. Transform to gain charge or +1/+1 in stealth. Most people did the stealth on this one.
Well, yeah, but there's sometimes where you really want that charge. A 3/2 stealth for 2 is very competitive. But sometimes you just need a 2/1 charge. And it can be the worst mode, but that flexibility is still well appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you might not always play a 3/2 stealth for 2, but you probably would. It's mostly like a bonus. But it's good. There's a lot of solid cards that came out of this, which, they're incentivized to make good cards. Brave Archer.
Yeah,
I
they
like
don't-
Brave Archer.
If your hand is empty, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero.
So a lot of I like it in arena. Let me just specify that. I'm not sure if it's good enough constructed, but in arena we don't normally want to play a 1-cost 2/1. That's just not usually good enough. But this is a good card late. Let's say your hand's empty, you draw it turn 4
That's
or
true.
5. It does more. It's still a priority. Tuscan Jouster. I like that it's riding a turtle. That's the biggest thing.
Now, I will say that if you're wanting to gain health, I wouldn't be using this because it's random whether you gain it or not. I mean, you can build your deck to maximize it, but
You reveal.
Antique Killbot has you gain 8 life all the time, and it's a 3/3 for 5.
Wait. Is the revealing a minion in each deck a random one, or do you reveal the highest cost one?
No, you reveal a random one from both decks.
Oh, wow, that mechanic's much worse than I thought originally. I thought it was based off your highest card creature available in your deck.
Nope, it just reveal a random minion in each deck. You don't get to choose, it just does all that for you.
And that's what I don't like as much about Hearthstone, is it tends towards the more casual player, and more variance creates more wins. Let's say that Brad's a much better player than me at Hearthstone. He is, in fact. Let's say that he's 8 out of 10, and I'm a 6 out of 10. If we're playing chess, good money's on Brad most games. I'm very rarely going to win.
I'm actually good at that game, too.
Yeah, but I mean, in this game, it's going to be close. I mean, Brad might have a 55% win rate, but it's not really that much different.
I will say that having played Magic first, you do win a lot more Hearthstone games than you probably should. Just because you can be like, well, I know this card usually trumps everything. I'm going to hold it until
And that's
I can
the play
get
scale.
2 or 3 cards for it.
Right, and there's a bigger gap than a 1 to 10 scale. On a 1 to 100 scale, me and Brad are probably somewhere in the 80s for Hearthstone. Like, we're better than most, but there's plenty of better players. Plenty.
Yeah, and a lot of things in Hearthstone, like, you'll be more competitive just for having more cards. I mean, just like Magic to a certain point.
Yeah. So how do you feel about the North Sea Kraken if you're playing Arena?
The North Sea Kraken. Battlecry, deal 4 damage, on top of it being a 9/7. It's probably fine to take.
I didn't think it was... I thought it was fine. My problem with this is I don't want to run that many 9-drops. I don't think I normally want to
You're
run
probably
that
not
card.
running more than one.
Right.
You're probably not going to see more than one, though. But I will say, like, most strategies tend to be mid-range for the arena. So if you have one 9-drop, you're probably fine with that.
Would you take another 9-drop of the other high-casted cards? Do you think this is above or below
So-
average 9-drops? Big
Well,
cards.
so most 9-drops are the legendaries. So if you're presented with this or a legendary, you're always going to take
Let's say it's not legendary.
9-drop legend.
Well, I guess we'd have to look at them. I just felt like...
No, all 9-drop legendaries are better than this card.
No, that's what
doubt.
I'm saying. I'm saying that the 9-drop rares, commons, and uncommons.
There
bigger
aren't
ones.
many 9-cost cards that I can think of.
8
off
or
the top
9.
of
Let's
my head.
put 8 and 9s together.
But
9s and 10s.
definitely, if you're presented with a
Do you feel like this
legendary, you're going to take that. If you're presented with a lot of the 8 or 9s, they usually don't have abilities.
They're
I
just
don't think.
big bodies?
Yeah,
Then I
like I
underrated
said,
it.
there's not many that are 9-drops anyway. There's an 8-drop if you're a druid that has defender and it's an 8/8 for 8. I mean, that's obviously better than this, but
But only slightly. In
Yeah.
all fairness. Would you, let's say you start off with your first pick, would you rather have you were playing a shaman, would you rather have the Dronary Totem Carver or the North Sea Dragon?
well, you generally just go by rarities in this game.
That's true.
I found this requires you to set it up, but it's a 4 cost and it's a 4/4 if it didn't have a battle cry. So that's just better.
Yeah.
This being a 9/7 though, there's not too many things it's gonna just die to.
You need 2 things. Would you take the Kadalvi Raider over at first pick?
So yeah, I would definitely take.
That's where I
this
was basically
first
at.
pick.
Is I was just
Because
not
at
impressed.
9 mana, you can drop this and bring it up to a 6/6 immediately and still have 2 more mana.
Yeah.
Whereas this thing is going to deal 4 damage and probably
It's a 2
kill
for
something.
1, but we talk a lot about the importance of card advantage and 2 for 1s, but at some mana cost, it's just not worth it. And I think that somewhere between 7+, you need to get a lot of bang for your buck. It needs to definitely win you the game, and I don't think that 9-costed card
So
definitely
in
win the game.
Hearthstone, even 9 and 10 drops don't always win you the game, but almost guaranteeing that you'll get a 2 for 1 at 9, that's pretty good for
Alright.
Hearthstone, especially Arena. Now for Constructed, I don't think that's going to see much play.
No.
So
This is better.
and that's why it's an uncommon. Alright.
Maybe
Okay.
the lake was cool.
This one is amazing. I've seen this played in so many decks.
Just because of ability, because you would not pay 4 for a 2/6.
So
I like Ice Rager. Reminds you a lot of cards in Magic, right? That's the kind of cobbled root kind of feel.
there's already a card that does this though. It's I think it's a rare and it's for the Druid class. I'm pretty sure
It might have more competitive
It becomes a 5/2 or a 2/5, and you pick when it comes into play.
It's a
So
little bit
you
better.
probably always play that instead of this.
Yeah, and I mean the other thing with Ice Rager as well is like in this game you can directly attack creatures, which makes it much worse than in Magic where you don't get that option.
Yeah. Throwing one of these down behind a couple of defenders though, probably going to get in a few times.
Oh yeah.
So.
Get your Tauntaun.
This guy's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah, 3 for a 3/2 with a
Any ability. Really.
right, which is usually going to be solid enough to be worth your card.
Huh? Golden Epic. This guy I really like. This
I
Frost Giant.
definitely agree, and it plays with Inspire well, and you got yours gold too. Look at him stomping around.
I know. So the Frost Giant is very similar to the other giant that has it's also
Sure.
10. It's just the other one has cost 1 less for each creature in play. So depending on your deck, both could end up being quite cheap by the time you're ready to cast.
Yeah, the configuration check, and your opponent has less control over the Frost Giant. If your deck is meant to take advantage of the Inspire mechanic or your ability, you control how many times you do that. Your opponent can't kill your Inspire.
And eventually this becomes free.
Yeah,
I
and
mean-
you draw it late, it's close to free. You draw it in the middle of the
Draw
game.
it middle of the game,
you
it's
can
probably
cast
about
it.
the right amount of mana for you.
Yeah, 6/5.
We also get an epic in the, or no, this is a rare, and then a golden epic.
Golden Epic's pretty good.
So this one I see played a whole lot. You don't necessarily have to have the charge to get value out of it, but you get pretty instantaneous value with the charge. So
Yeah.
I've seen it hit people in the face, including myself, and I've seen it take out a creature that was smaller or a creature that had a much larger toughness and about the same power. So
Really? I would have thought that card was not good enough for constructed.
I think since it's only 4, you can sometimes get 5 and 6 cost minions that have 5 toughness with it.
Yeah.
And so you're getting a mana advantage, and some of the legendaries are only 5 toughness.
Right.
A lot of them you need to die immediately. The
Is this
5/5 for 6 that
Play as a substitute for Leroy Jenkins? Or is Leroy Jenkins just better?
Don't know.
I think Leroy
Really?
Jenkins is
Isn't
something-
Leroy Jenkins more mana though?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
We'll have to check later.
So
I do like how they have the Walrus sub-theme in here, aesthetically. You can never go wrong.
that's pretty
Walruses.
funny. I didn't notice that.
There's lots. So Wild Walker was one of the most exciting cards I saw come out of this. Not sure where it falls in constructors and play, but think about that card in Arena. How excited would you be to start with a Wild Walker?
That's pretty good.
Right?
Now, I will say beasts are usually in warrior, so I'm not sure how it fits as a druid card.
There's probably a
I mean, I'm
small-
sure there are some, but I don't know them off the top of my head like I know the warrior ones.
And the nice part is, at 4, it's already a 4/4. So we have the Chillwind Yeti. Let's say that's the standard. One of the best cards in Arena, right? The 4/5 for 4. For 1 toughness loss, you gain a potentially variable but high upside. If you can ever get the upside to go off, it's just better. And if it's not, it's only slightly worse. How do you feel about your Poison Blade?
So this is pretty cool. Your rogue power now gives this +1 attack.
Yep.
That's pretty neat. It still doesn't increase the number of times you can use it, though.
There are other things that increase it too in Rogue, though. You could go into heavy weapon.
I don't know what that was.
I don't know. Holy Champion is another interesting card, as was Spawn of Shadows. I felt like all of these were really nice.
So whenever a character is healed, gain 2 attack, that's pretty cool because a lot of pre-spells heal all of your team, including you.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. And
So.
Spawn of Shadows is an interesting card. Let's say you inspire and heal yourself. You'll heal yourself for 2. So let's say you and your opponent are both
The same.
at 6. What this will do is it'll put you at 4 and your opponent at 2. If you're both at 4, it'll put your opponent dead, and you barely alive.
That's true. Not to mention, there's another priest card that turns all your healing spells into harm spells.
Yep.
So you could theoretically just damage them for 2 and then damage both of you for 4. So
Yeah.
those are both cool
And
modes.
either of those are very
Also,
similar.
that card costs 5, so you could set this down and then set that down.
Sure.
And then, of course, you're on your next turn actually using it, so that's probably not the best way to play. Things tend to die pretty quickly in Hearthstone.
How do you feel about captured Jurmog for Arena? Would you be excited to
So
start with that card?
that one's pretty weak. Now, it is a beast. That might get you a little bit of synergy, but...
It's an all classes beast as well.
Yeah.
So that's one of the beasts you're playing there. How do you feel about Argent Lance?
Let's see. Reveal a minion in each deck, and if yours costs more, gain 1 durability. It seems passable.
It's not great. That's
It's
what I
not
thought.
great. Charge and Divine Shield. Now, that's pretty decent. You'll probably get an extra card out of that one.
Yeah, it's a steep cost though.
It is 3 for a 2/1, which is a little bit below the bar. Divine Shield will get you a lot, though. And Charge will get it immediately.
How do you feel about Seal of Champions?
Let's see. +3 attack and Divine Shield. It seems like it's right for the certain kind of deck.
Ancestral Knowledge? I like that card a lot, by the way.
Draw 2 cards and overload 2 for 2 mana. It's probably one of the best cards they've printed. And it's an uncommon. That's the
So
weirdest
here's the thing about Ancestral Knowledge. It's not a very good 2-drop. You know what is really good?
10-drop,
6-drop.
8-drop, 6-drop. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're spending the mana, and you're spending some of it that turn. So you play it on turn 6. You pay your 4-drop. The next turn you play your 5-drop.
And then the next turn you're overloaded, so you have 1 less. Or I guess, yeah, you'll have 1 less, not 2 less, because you'll gain another.
I've heard people playing the Murloc Knight. 4 for a 3/4, 5, by the way, is only slightly underrated. But apparently the random Murloc is interesting. Fun fact,
There's a lot of really powerful ones.
you can get other Murloc Knights with that.
I've seen it happen. You usually win that match.
That's kind of cool. I think that makes Murloc there. How do you feel about Polymorph Boar? Do you feel like that card?
So it's weird because there's already a polymorph, right? And it costs 4,
Now,
and it gives them a 1/1 cheat.
Regular polymorph is strictly a defensive card. Use it to kill your opponent's cards. This can be used on your creatures if you need to do more damage. You can take your 1/1 from your Violet Teacher, polymorph it, get another 1/1, and then attack with your 4/2 to trade one of their cards. You're essentially trading the same. Or etc. Now you can turn their 8/8 into a 4/2 charge, and they don't get the advantage of the charge because it's already been around a turn.
That's true.
But it's an odd position because I think normally I'd rather run regular polymorph.
Now, one other question. Is a boar considered a beast? Because I bet it is, and that would actually help some people to give them a beast.
That's true. You have to be aware of that.
Now, it is 3 instead of 4, so that's pretty cool.
I like Living Roots a lot too. A whole lot.
2 damage or summon 2 1/1 saplings for 1. That seems like a strict upgrade to one of the priest cards that's just deal 2 damage.
Well, it's in Druid, so they have a little bit different specializations. We're used to seeing that. But either of those modes is very good.
Yeah, and for 1, I think that's very playable.
I was excited about that card. Epic. Another Poison Blade. You have a lot of those.
Probably. I think I've disenchanted everything I didn't need. This is a weird card.
So
return this minion to your hand.
Here are the things I like. You play creatures that care about other creatures coming into play. You can repeatedly play Coliseum Manager. You attack your 2/5 into their 4/2. You inspire, you return it to your hand. It heals itself. This card requires intelligent play around it. It's not a pure upside, but it's not a pure downside.
I'm not sure if the cards currently exist for this.
It might not. I would play that card, one of those cards, in most arena decks because of the way you can play with it.
That's true. If you have the card that's like a 2/3 and gives all your minions with 2 or more, or I think it's 2 or less power charge, that makes that way more interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways that can be interesting.
This is pretty cool. I see this a lot, actually.
It's good.
Summon a bear with taunt. Now, this is the same cost as the one that just does 2 damage to all their minions. I don't remember what it's called. It's one of the common cards they give you for free, I think.
Right. So I'm not exactly sure how Bird Strike works. If I attack with my creature, do I do the damage to you, or does it redirect to the bear?
So after your hero is attacked, so that means your hero literally already took damage, then it'll summon the 3/3 bear.
I like that a lot more then. What that means is it's not going to save you from lethal first damage, and your opponent gets to make an informed decision. But the upside is you did get a 3/3 that you can then attack with the next turn. It's like, imagine playing this in turn 2.
That's
you
true.
get attacked for 2 or 3, then you get attacked for 3, and they have to get through your bear.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Also, since it's the same cost as the one that just does 2 damage to all their creatures, sometimes people will attack with a smaller creature first.
Right.
So that their bigger creature will either trade with your taunt bear or at least not hit you. Yeah. It's a really cool spell.
I like that kind of obscure. I can't say it.
Kind of, you're playing the shell game with them, right?
Yeah.
So they don't
Make it
necessarily
obscure.
know what your secret is because it is a secret. It's like a trap. Whenever you summon a beast, reduce the cost of this card by 1.
That's okay.
That is an awesome card.
How do you feel about the aspirant?
The aspirant.
Aspirant.
Gain 1 spell damage. That's really cool. I haven't seen that played against me very much, though. So I'm thinking it might be too high a cost for the deck that wants to play it, because I think it wants to kind of be played in a control deck.
Well, I think the other problem is that you have to use the ability, your inspire ability, at least once for it even to get you any value. So it is a very heavy.
Hell, a 3/5 for 4 is not terrible.
Right, but you wouldn't want to play that card, and it's essentially 6 for a 3/5.
With spell damage 1,
Yeah.
whereas you could get the 5/5 spell, or the 4/4 spell damage 1 for 5.
Yeah.
That also draws you a card. The what is it called? The Drake or whatever.
I thought that was the wizard. I don't know.
The dragon.
Oh, the dragon one. Yeah.
I like this card. This is really neat
A 3/3 for 3
because you can play it on 3,
and
and
then
it's just a 3/3 for 3. But then the next turn you could use your ability and then give it Wind Fury. So if it lives, you're going to get a crazy amount of value out of a 3/3.
So how do you feel about competitive spirit? I think it's terrible.
So I've never managed to make it work, but the only thing I played it in is the Tavern Brawl where they built the deck for you. So
Like, what's the point of it supposed to be? Is +1/+1 really worth a whole card?
it might be if you have enough creatures out. But really, you've got to set this up pretty well because you've got to play a bunch of creatures, have them live a turn, and then play some more creatures and put this down. Because if you just put this down, it triggers the next turn. You're not going to get a very big
The
buff.
only thing I like about this card is your opponent will not normally think you're playing Competitive Spirit. They will normally think they're playing around a secret. But I don't know how many other one cost secrets there are.
Well, the other one cost secret that commonly is played in Paladin is the one that summons a 2/1 when you attack them or any of their minions.
Mm.
So you go to attack and it summons the 2/1 and your minion gets redirected at the 2/1.
Yeah, that's okay. I like Totem Guide a lot.
So let's see. Totem God, the Overload 1 for a 3/4. I think that's
Really good.
that is really good. And it's also a totem.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that buffs totems now. They just came out with, and this might get a random summon off that.
Yeah,
Totem
it can be that
summon
totem.
thing,
I
yeah.
also like how it's a totem made out of totems.
That is true. It is a totem golem. The artwork says it all.
Rare. Oh, that's a rare. That's
Yeah, that's the one we were
underwhelming.
talking about earlier. Yeah.
How do you like Power Shot?
Power Shot. Deal 2 damage to a minion, and then the minion's next to it. And it's a hunter card.
It's good.
That is really good.
You know what's really good too? Evil Heckler. I love that card. I think Evil Heckler is one of the best cards they put out for all classes for Arena.
I do agree. It's great for Arena.
So we've been talking about Chillwind Yeti, one of the best cards, 4/5 for 4, etc., etc. I think that 5/4, 4/5. It's hard to say which one's better. They both have their ups and downs. It depends on the deck. But this having taunt just puts it leagues better.
Because they have to attack.
Oh yes, and it will usually kill at least 2 things or 1 good thing.
And I guess the best part about this one having taunt and having more power, you would normally think, oh, I want my taunts to have more toughness, right? So they live longer. This one having more power means you can use it to attack their hero while they're forced to send their minions at it.
And it's going to be usually 2 valuable minions at the very best case.
Unless at the best case, you're probably going to get 2. You might get 3, but...
You get 2 small minions or 1 minion you would be happy to trade with. What else costs 4 and has 4 power? Like, that's the real question. How is your opponent spending the
very
same
few
amount of
cards.
mana or cards to get an advantage out of this card? It's hard.
Yeah.
It's an awesome card.
I like it.
Evil Heckler replacing the Yeti Brigade. I never knew the power of Hecklers would be so good. Bash. I don't think Bash is that impressive. It's okay, but not great.
It goes in that deck that tries to do damage equal to its armor.
I think Refreshment Vendor is a good card for life gain, if you want to be playing that kind of stuff.
Restore 4 health to each. So if you're really far behind, they're not going to gain any health anyway.
Well,
So
and
that's
the other
pretty
part is,
cool.
if you're playing stuff to gain health, you either have synergies that go with it, or you want the game to go on. You've built around this card.
That's true.
And you're a fat walrus eating the drumstick.
That too.
Yeah. So Argent Watchman is terrible.
Can attack this turn as normal. Yeah,
If
not
it,
very good.
If it had taunt, would you play it?
I think I would play it if it had taunt.
That's what I thought too. I thought
Especially
it'd be a taunt.
since it'd be a 2/4 for 2 with taunt. That'd be great.
How do you feel about Demon Fuse? Aggressive demons is obviously a thing.
Give a demon +3, give an opponent a mana crystal. I think that's fine.
Yeah, you're trying to win early. It doesn't matter if they're going. That's how I felt too.
Yeah.
Alright.
Oh, we got an epic.
Alright, let's start with Astral Communion. I felt like Astral Communion was a deck you can build, a card you can build a deck around.
Gain 10 mana crystals, discard your hand.
Alright, let's set up a game. Let's set up a deck that plays cheap cards that get you to 4 mana, Astral Communions, and expensive cards that draw you cards and expensive creatures. So essentially a bunch of... There's the 2 mana card that lets you gain a crystal, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a couple other cheap cards that cost 1 and 2 that get you extra crystals. You play those, Astral Communion, and just the expensive, strong
Just
draw cards and
Large
cards.
epics and draw cards, right?
Yeah. I think you have 2 of those now. How many of those can you run in a deck?
2.
We
If,
might
if
build
I
that
have
deck.
them. I mean, we
You
can
do.
try
You have
it.
another one. I know.
There's already a Druid ramp deck you could slot this into.
Maybe.
So,
I think it's a powerful card. Cheating mana is always a powerful ability. How do you feel with the Worm Rest Art Agent? I think we're getting close to the Dragon deck. That's what I think.
well, so a dragon deck already exists. but I'm not sure if this goes in it or not.
2 for 1 for a 2/4 taunt.
Yeah, I think it's good enough, but there may be so many cards in the deck already.
Mm.
I don't know much about the Dragon deck because I don't have many of them. So.
How do you feel about Fearsome Doomguard?
Fearsome Doomguard, a 6/8 for 7. That's a little rough. No abilities on this one, so he might trade with a couple of creatures, but there's already a 6/7 for 6. What is it?
He's a demon, so he's going to play well with demon synergies, all those things, and he's in Warlock, and they don't normally get very good creatures without downside. So that's the real things about him. How do you like Fencing Choach?
I think this is neat. It's a 2/2 for 3, which is a little overcosted for a 2/2. However, it gives you a free activation of your hero power in any class.
For the regular hero power. Works well with Inspire, but essentially what you're really getting is a 3-mana 2/2 that says use your hero power, for the most part. So that's a 1-mana discount overall, which is fine.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Especially since, for a druid, you could summon a totem. Mm-hmm. Right.
Doing 1 damage. Not all of the abilities are equally useful, but the better your ability is unconditionally, the better Fencing Coach is.
I think the more stick around power your thing is, because you can make a 1/1 soldier with that, so that'll even out that power immediately.
Right, and that's because of utilities.
Healing for 2 is not super good with this because probably on turn 3 you're not going to have anything.
Healing for 2 and doing 1 damage and the druid ability, or the druid, all those abilities have a higher upside. Like sometimes dealing 1 damage to something is way more important than a creature. Sometimes healing 2 damage is more important than a creature. Sometimes dealing 1 damage is more important than a creature. But none of them have the staying power of the totem and the soldier, like you said.
The totem and the soldier.
I mean,
drawing a card would be good too.
And losing you're right. And that's kind of in the middle too.
Because if this were a 2/2 that said draw a card for 3.
And then just lose 2 life, you'd be excited.
Yeah, lose 2 life. Yeah. So, those are all good uses for that card.
And we also have the upgraded versions too of the Inspire abilities. I like Buccaneer. How do you feel about Buccaneer?
Buccaneer, whenever you equip a weapon, give it 1 attack.
So you play that turn 1, you use your ability turn 2.
Pirate.
So you play Buccaneer turn 1, you equip turn 2 with the rogue. Your rogue ability is now +1. So you got whatever the durability is and has 1 extra attack. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah, that is actually pretty good.
How do you feel about Flame Juggler, the new knife?
Dealing damage to a random enemy, it's alright.
Yeah, 2 for a 2/3 is fine though.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely take it in the arena. Whenever you discard a card and gain +1/+1.
That's an awesome demon. Cool. 2 for a 3/2 demon is already close enough to good, and with the new discard themes, this will get better. And over time, as they release more cards, obviously there'll be more discard effects, and this card will become more powerful.
Mm-hmm. It's also a tiny knot of evil.
Does that include discarding to your hand size?
Discarding to what do you mean?
Well, you have a hand limit, right?
Yes, but you can't draw if you're at your hand limit. It doesn't make you discard.
Never mind.
It literally destroys the cards that you draw. Well, we've definitely got 2 ball spiders now.
How do you feel about Muckless Champion?
Muckless Champion. Inspire, give your other minions +1/+1. This takes a lot of setup. You're going to have other minions.
Now, if it said give minions, including itself +1/+1, would you feel good about it?
That'd be way better. Because I think a lot of the time you're probably going to try to play this on turn 5 where you might not have any minions by the time it comes back around to you.
How do you feel about Flash Heal? I was down on it.
Flash Heal, restore 5 health. It can be to a minion, that's pretty good. I don't think I want it in my deck though.
It needs to be on a body. If this was on if I had a 3-mana 1/1 that restored 5 health when it played, I would probably be fine. How about Magor's Champion?
50% chance to attack the wrong enemy. I don't see anything wrong with that. You just build your deck so that they only have 1 thing to attack.
So we have the 3-mana 4/4 version. I think the 3-mana 4 version.
Way better.
That's what I was saying. It's way better. At some point, you just have to ask more of your creatures, and the longer the game goes, the more options your opponent has to deal with. Just dumb creatures.
Also, notice this has 5 toughness, so it'll die to the cards we talked about earlier. So,
yeah,
it's not terrible. It's not really something I'm going to want to pick in the arena or play in my deck usually. So, I wonder if they're ever going to make an orc that allows you to not do that.
That would be cool.
So.
How do you feel about Silent Night?
Stealth and Divine Shield is pretty cool.
How do you feel about Holy Night and the rest of that song? Bad jokes.
That was terrible. Your hero power deals 1 extra damage is really cool.
2 for a 3/2 is already pretty serviceable in the fact that your mage power just becomes twice as good. Like if you play this on turn 4, you just get a shoot for 4, and your opponent needs to kill your fallen hero.
You get to shoot for 2, but yeah.
Yeah, sorry, for 2. But your opponent needs to kill it, and you can play more than 1.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that you can.
And
get
if
your
you have ways
mage
to make
power.
it cheaper or do multiple turns, it can get real scary.
Well, especially since now they can make your hero power do more than once per turn, and cost 1 less.
Silverhand Regent. I was impressed.
Now this is very similar to another card, right? Silverhand. Anyway,
Yeah.
3/3 for 3, and it makes 1/1s, which is cool because that is actually a hero power, right?
Right.
So you can have double your hero power. You can have 2 hero powers on a hero because it's all classes.
It is. And that's the interesting thing, is obviously it has the most consistency in the Paladin deck because you already have that ability, so you don't have the Silverhand Regent. Your deck still functions mostly the same, just half as good. But paying mana and getting an effect like that, like, what are different abilities again? The Mage does damage, which is fine. It lets you kind of throw around damage a little bit more. The Druid gets the 1 armor in that.
1 armor and 1 attack. Yeah.
Yep.
You get the totem. You can draw a card
And lose life.
Yeah.
Yep. You can gain armor.
Yeah.
So none of them are.
do 2 damage to the enemy.
Yep. None of them are necessarily quite as effective, but having extra bodies is a lot more important in other classes as well. So if you build your deck correctly, you can have a lot of flexibility. I'm surprised they printed it as all classes.
I'm actually surprised at that too. They do have a paladin card though that gives all your Silverhand recruits +2/+2.
That card's really
So.
good. Yeah.
And that'll work really well with this last pack.
Come on, Legendary. Oh, you got another Dread Scale. How do you feel about that card?
At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to all other I got a second one of these, you said?
Yeah, I busted one of those before.
Oh, you can only play 1 though, unfortunately.
I think mine was gold.
Oh, really?
No, I have no idea. I'm just.
Alright.
So there's a bigger version of this. Apparently, they're 2 worms and they look the same. Another one I think has similar stats, and it's whenever any creature takes damage, it dies. But it costs 7. I don't think it's good. I think Dread Scale is the kind of card that is highly playable, terrifyingly playable. There's a
Yeah.
lot of ways to abuse that.
And it's only 3 mana for a 4/2. That's pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Especially since you're getting that.
And it's one of the cheaper legendaries. And I think the thing about cheaper legendaries is that
They're still overpowered?
they're overpowered and playable. Like, let's say you have your 30 mana legendary, or that's a bad example, your 10 mana legendary. You know, how many 10 mana legendaries do you want to start with in your hand?
None, actually.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
How about your 3 mana legendary?
I'd definitely start one of those.
Right,
I
I
don't
mean,
think
this
I'm
is
pushing
playable.
that.
And that's the real problem.
So, and I don't actually think there are 10 mana legendaries.
Let's go look at the list of legendaries, or that you have right now, I guess.
That I have. Well, it's going to be a lot smaller, but
And then we'll open up the actual list of legendaries. We'll look at Brad's legendaries. Can you see
all
them?
right. So I think in order to search just legendary, you have to type it in here. No, apparently that's not how you do it. I don't know
Is it
how
just
you
the up
search
thing up
just
here?
legendaries.
Is it that top thing?
No, this is card backs and something else.
All right, let's just pull it up on.
Yeah, that'd be the best thing to do.
Yeah, seeing Brad legendaries is less
Excited.
All right, so we're gonna look at a little bit of this. Colin, talk about the new set, kind of what Brad's feeling or not. We'll talk about Dreadsteed, a card that is not currently broken, but has now put Hearthstone in. While you can't print a whole bunch of different cards as the game becomes broken state. Oh, here we go. Let's drag it over.
There is actually a 50.
Let's drag it
50
over.
mana one. Okay, I was going to make it a little bit smaller first.
Oh, sure. However, there we go.
There we go. So...
Let's start at the top and look down at what's the 50 mana one? Is that actual playable?
Yeah, cost 1 less for each damage your hero is taken. Now, think about this. Your hero has to take 40 damage before you can actually play it. And you
That's
start
really
at
bad.
30. So,
That's hard to play and not good enough.
yeah.
All right, Deathwing is playable though.
Now, I don't actually think this is available in the game. It's just in the Tavern Brawl.
Sure, but that's still not exciting.
So I have seen this one before. This one's not exciting. Thaddeus, you have to summon from killing 2 other legendaries. You can't cast him.
It's okay. That's exciting.
That is pretty cool. This one's actually new.
Yep. We went over some of the legendaries when we first came out. I think that's a super exciting card.
This is one of my favorites, actually.
Helps you get your life up when you're about to die, and helps your opponent get down to a 2-turn clock if they're below above that.
Yeah.
I thought a new bark was pretty good too.
This is also a new one.
It was very, very strong.
Your minions cost 1.
I've heard people been playing that. I wasn't. Oh, I misread that. I read that as your minions cost 1 less, and I wasn't impressed. Your minions cost 1 is awesome because that means when you summon it, if you have 10 mana, you can immediately summon another card. Wow, I can't read.
No,
I was totally wrong.
No, he can't read.
That's a nice card.
Give your other minions +2 or summon 2 2/2
It's either stabilizing you or winning you the game. It does exactly what you want it to. If it's your only creature, it's giving you a lot more time.
So this is a new one as well.
I wasn't-
Attack heroes.
It's essentially a removal spell, and it's going to kill 2 of their cards.
Maybe
I don't
more.
think that's worth 9 necessarily, though.
Probably not. They could have pushed this a little further and given it Wind Fury. That'd have been alright. Because for the same amount of mana but 2 less power, you can attack heroes.
Yeah.
So, I don't remember what the Lord does.
Can't be worth
It's
it
like
with that health.
it's got 15 health and has some sort of crazy ability.
That's just, yeah.
Ragnaros is serious though. Ragnaros has like 8 health but does 8 damage at random
Yeah.
for 2 mana.
Scary stuff. High risk, high reward cards.
Your hero is immune. I've lost to this many times.
What does immune do?
Immune says you can't take damage. So you have to kill this before you can kill the hero.
Right, so they just have to protect their 1 creature. That is a very strong card.
Yep.
Plus 5 spell damage. I don't think that's actually very good, though.
The fact that it has 12 health means you probably get to use it.
1 turn, sure.
Maybe 2.
Maybe.
Summon a leper gnome. So the leper gnomes are the 2 ones that do 2 damage when they die.
Okay.
So
It's a nice cycle.
this one's really good.
Yep. The firing is excellent.
Yep. This is what you think of when you think of 9 costs.
Oh, yeah.
So
That card's annoying.
That card is hard to play around.
The trick is playing your turns around your opponent's turn and hope you're playing a kind of simple deck. But if you know your deck well, it's not that good of a card. Like, okay, we know Reed Duke plays this game. Top level Magic player, very strong player in Hearthstone as well. Do you think that card would really affect him that much?
Nope.
Nope.
No, other than that it's a 8/8 and it will kill you.
Yeah, that part would.
I mean, 15 seconds is long enough for me to attack with it. Summon 1/1 whelps to fill your battlefield. It's alright. Yazira, I think is how you say it.
Yeah, the
is
dream creatures.
Pretty hard to win through. So, what are you doing?
I keep moving the camera because I can't see the side of your head because of the overlay. That's
there
fine.
we go. Alright.
Whoa.
Win free charge, divine shield, and taunt. But he's only a 3/5.
But he attacks for 6.
Right now. Definitely a setup card.
Well, all I have to do is play 1 card that says he gets any amount of power and it becomes awesome.
So, and playing him onto a board where they don't have taunt is pretty good too.
Playing him onto a board where you have totems that increase his power is also awesome.
That's true.
And he is in the right class.
Yep. And let's see, Chromagus, I think it is.
Chromagus.
Once you start drawing cards off this thing, you're probably not losing.
So the trick is you play Chromagus, and then you play Ancestral Knowledge, and you draw 2 cards. And you get all 4. There you go. So Foe Reaper 4000 has the silliest name and is a giant scarecrow, but that ability is pretty good as far as killing things
I've
goes.
definitely had some minions die to that. This guy's pretty awesome.
Oh, if you can just do 1 damage to it somehow, then it's like a 10-9 charge. That's
now, usually you
exciting.
have to attack a minion to do 1 damage to it because it's in Warrior. Now Warrior does have the 1 damage to all minions spell, so.
Yeah.
At the end of turn, you gain 1/1.
That gets
out of hand pretty quick.
They just have to commit the resources early. That's all.
So Kel'Thuzad's probably my favorite card in the game.
Definitely one of the.
I've probably
cards.
won more games off Kel'Thuzad than any other card in the game. So Ragnaros has the ability.
Mm-hmm.
3 copies of Arcane Missiles to your hand does not seem very powerful. Arcane Missiles just does
3 damage.
3 damage at random.
I think you're supposed to put it in the Spell Mastery deck. It's your capping your Spell Mastery deck. You play that, they need to kill it, you trade in your things, and all of a sudden you have +5 Spell Mastery, whatever, and you're shooting because they all do the extra damage. It's definitely built around.
Summon a random legendary. There are some fails built in.
I mean, that's part of
you can get any of them. This one's very good. I've lost to that one before. I've lost a game that there seemed to be no way to lose to that one, actually.
That's impressive. So, I like Voltron, the Voltron ripoff here, where they can attack 4 times. That's a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of
and
damage.
Immediately, too.
That's 16 damage. Just 16 damage. Like 8 mana, 16 damage.
Yep.
It's terrifying. It's much better than a lot of the other attacking ones. There's Acid Maul. That's the card I was talking about. 7 for a 4/2. Whenever another minion takes damage, destroy it.
Mm-hmm. When you cast a spell out of Fireball.
Yes, no, I will say the advantage to playing Acid Maul and the other card we had is that it kills all other creatures every turn. Because it's
as long as you have a creature.
No. You have the 3 mana 4/2 that deals 1 damage, and this.
Oh, that's true.
And then together they kill all other creatures every single turn. So your opponent has to kill them with the spell or have charge, or they can't win the game. I still don't think it's good enough because of that.
2 damage to all characters is pretty good. The Fireball spell should win you the game if it lives long enough.
Oh yeah, because you just keep.
Well, as soon as you cast a Fireball, you get a Fireball to cast.
Yeah. If you have something that makes your spells cost less, like some of the cards we have, you can just chain off the next turn.
Fireballs. Yep.
Chill Maul.
Let's see. So this is a new one. If you're holding a dragon, deal 3 damage to all minions. That's pretty good.
I like how it's a 6/6 taunt for 7. That's solid. Like its floor is a lot higher than these. The problem with a lot of legendaries is you're paying a lot for setup cost, and you just don't always get it. And having just a 6/6 taunt really does. There you go.
Mm-hmm. So this one inspires to summon a legendary.
That's a good 9-drop. That's a 9-drop, by the way. You play that on 7. You inspire.
Do not want to just drop this and hope
It's
that
good
it lives.
I think.
So I think almost every competitive deck plays this card.
What do 1/1 blue bots do again?
So they do 1 to 4 damage when they die.
That's pretty good.
And it's at random.
Yeah.
To a random thing, and the damage is random.
I like Edric the Pure. This is the kind of card I can get around, right? Not a lot of power off stuff, etc., etc. But the fact that it turns all your opponent's attacks to 1 when you play it, and it's the kind of card you want to find to return to your hand.
Well, also Paladin, so you're making 1/1s to trade with those.
Well, no, their toughness isn't changed. Their health is the same.
Oh, their attack. Oh, there's another one that does the opposite. Yeah. Well, when you draw this, still 2 damage to all characters.
That was one of the most exciting cards that I've read. Because when you draw this, draw effects aren't stoppable. They're free. Now, they're not controllable in that you don't know when they're going to happen, but you can build your deck to draw more cards and to play around the 2 damage.
That's true. Gojira. That's pretty funny. I did not know that was the name of a card.
Yeah, I mean, that's great.
Jesrael, shuffle it back into your deck. That's pretty cool.
It's alright.
Doesn't come up much. Add 4 random Murlocs to your hand. That's pretty neat.
That's kind of not good enough, but the better Murlocs get, the better it gets. That said, I mean, the more Murlocs they print, they're less likely to be competitive play, so I think it might be at its peak now.
May have been at its peak before, actually. Double the damage and healing of all your spells and hero power. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that is a priest only card.
Setup.
If you're holding a Dragon Destroyer Legendary, I see that played a lot.
Yep. Charge. I love the charge. The charge. It's super nice. Yeah. I don't think it's very good. Even if it costs 4. At 4, it's good. But, I mean,
you definitely play it in pirate decks.
Maybe? I mean, how many pirates are you really going to have out?
Oh, man, I don't know. I've never played a pirate deck.
I don't think a pirate deck exists. I think that's the problem.
You have to spend way more money on this game to have a pirate deck. That one's pretty good. The Burly Rock Jaws, I think, are 3/5s, and they have whenever they cast a spell, get +2 attack or something.
Yeah.
I like how on the card it does not tell you what a Burly Rockjaw does.
Well, just
on
'cause
Magic, it would tell you.
Well, because you would need a physical representation of the card. They're going to automatically appear.
That's pretty cool. I've never played against this.
That's an interesting card.
This one I play against actually pretty often.
It's all right.
It replaces itself when it dies. That's pretty cool.
That isn't always a plus.
So this is the 5/5 legendary you're going to want to kill as fast as possible. That's why that guy with potential charge is so good.
Yeah.
So here's Gazlowe. He's represented more in Heroes of the Storm.
Oh, he's a lot better in Heroes of the Storm.
Certainly.
He's not very good here.
No, not really. Summon an awesome invention. Have no idea what awesome inventions are. This guy's great.
Hogger's great.
Absolutely great.
Hogger's the kind of card they have to commit more than one card to win. And if they don't quickly, they're going to lose.
So also better in Heroes of the Storm, but not terrible. So these 2/1s, they actually don't have any abilities. They're just 2/1s.
That's fine.
Shuffle a mine into your opponent's deck. When they draw it, it explodes.
I don't think that's great.
Not that wonderful.
No. Unless you met.
Now, if they draw it, you're probably going to win.
Well, you need to build a deck that's making them draw more cards to make them run out of cards to lose the game. Then it's okay.
Now, replace your starting hero power with a better one. I think it upgrades all the powers.
It does, and they all become much better. Have you seen those?
Okay, I know the mage one is 2 damage, right?
It essentially doubles all of them, except
Yeah.
for the Hunter one becomes 3 damage instead of 4.
Oh, okay.
Which is disappointing. I wish it was 4.
Oh, that might be too much. Myaxia is pretty good. I've traded lots of creatures with this one.
Yeah.
If you put it in a priest deck, you get to heal it every turn.
It's true.
Continue
If you
killing.
put it in a druid deck, you can make it have taunt and more toughness.
Oh, that's true.
Or paladin, you can give it divine shield. There's a lot of things that make that card dirtier than it should be.
So this is pretty neat in that it gives their minions and your minions the problem. I wouldn't play it, but at the start of your turn, give your minions +3 attack, and that stacks as many turns as he lives.
And he's going to live probably 1 turn at least, which is nice. He comes as a 7/12 when he gets attacked.
This is played in a lot of competitive decks.
It's because their opponent's creatures are very good, and it's very good. It's 2 for 1.
Mm-hmm.
The Beast.
You can also kill your own creature to take one of theirs with the priest deck.
What's a 3/3 Finkel Einhorn do?
I do not know, actually. Not many people play this one, even though it's a 9/7 for 6.
It's probably a good ability your opponent gets then.
Don't know. Destroying enemy minion with taunt. I've definitely seen that played. Give all minions in your hand and deck +1/+1. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is a super... Now, it's not in play. When you play him, no one gets bigger, but all your future cards get bigger. And if you build your deck right, that's a very unique and powerful ability. You know, I talked about before, it's one of the cooler parts to an online game. You can go up a little bit to Black Knight. With the Mistcaller, like, that couldn't exist in Magic. The templating would be too confusing. You
would have to get an emblem.
Yeah, and it would have to kill all your current creatures. It'd be too weird. It can't...
Yes.
Mistcaller doesn't affect your creatures on board, only future creatures, which is the coolest effect because we couldn't have that in the... I mean, in future games it's not as cool, but the first time you see it, it's just really nice. One thing I like about Black Knight is it's a bad card if your opponent doesn't have taunt, but you're building your deck for a way that if they don't have taunt, they're not going to be doing well.
Yep.
So it's got this, like, kind of low floor, but the problem is, the good news is, if you're hitting that low floor, you're probably already doing great.
That's true. Reveal a minion in each deck if yours costs more, return this to your hand. That's pretty neat. 7/4 for 6 is a little overcosted for legendaries because there's a 7/4 for 5. It's part of the one that make Thaddeus.
So if you're playing that with only more expensive legendaries, let's say you're just playing expensive legendaries and removal spells, you think that's kind of...
I don't think you could get away with playing nothing but legendaries and removal spells. Now, you might build a ramp deck to do it, but usually people still have creatures that are low.
You have, like, just tons of flame cannons wouldn't be good enough?
Don't think so.
Okay.
Well, considering you couldn't do that in the game.
You can only play 2 flame cannons.
Yeah.
So, as more removal
Now,
becomes...
if they let you have a deck full of flame cannons in this, maybe.
As more removal becomes more available, certain cards get better and certain cards get worse. This card gets better.
Yeah, just because it comes back, possibly.
Because you can have more options to build a deck where you have more expensive cards and less creatures.
Battle Cry and Death Rattle. add a spare.
Oh wow, that's
part to your
terrible.
hand. Not very good. Now there are a lot of decks that use the ability of the spare parts. Like so, I have one where every time I cast a spell, an effect happens, and that's on a few different cards.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I have a lot of cards that give me spare parts, so free spells basically.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that and Gaslight would be pretty good.
sure.
So
Then you have two kind of okay legendaries together.
whenever your opponent casts a spell, gain a copy of it and give them a coin.
That's good.
That's pretty neat. It's weird that he gives you a coin. It's like flavorful as opposed
Yeah, he's
to...
giving you money. He's paying you for your spell. Which, I mean, you're playing this on 6 or 7. It doesn't really matter that they have a coin that much.
And he does have 8 toughness. That's hard to kill. So
Sometimes it can matter quite a bit, but yeah,
your
whatever.
cards cost 3 less.
I'm digging it.
That's
Lets you
great.
6-drop that if you play it late,
That's
lets
neat.
you play another card. So is Wilfred Fizzlebang.
So this one's only Warlock, or it wouldn't make sense.
Yes, and it's also extremely powerful.
Yep.
The upgraded Warlock ability, by the way, is used to lose life. Basically, he says 2 mana, cast the top card of your deck.
Mm-hmm.
That card's really good. He needs to die. If you play him on 8, you got a free. You got him another card, and your opponent has to kill it.
That's true. Ashbreaker.
I think that was one of the cards that gets summoned from one of the Paladin cards. It gets summoned from a legend.
that is true. That is true.
Right. It actually brings Ash into the room.
Yes. Okay.
Blingtron.
Blingatron, equip a random
Bling.
weapon for each player. I've definitely seen people lose to this.
I should call you the Blingtron 3000.
I think it actually equips the same weapon for each player, but does not tell you that on here.
What about
but then
Bolvar Ford Dragon?
they technically don't get to use theirs first, but yours may not be good for the time you cast it. So, see, that's pretty cool because it powers up as it's in your hand.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. I've seen someone play that against me. It came down pretty large.
Oh yeah, if you put it in like a Paladin deck or something, it's huge.
Yeah, you had to put it in Paladin deck.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Sorry.
Mhm. This is what ETC stands for. We were talking about this
Elite
offline.
Tauren
Yeah,
Chieftain.
Elite Tauren Chieftain. That's why you can't call him etc.
I was calling him etc. Go back up to that 5-4. What is that? What is that? Oh, that's terrible.
Give your weapon +1/+1.
Is that the most disappointing legendary?
Probably.
Yeah.
No, actually, there's worse.
Okay, it's just really vanilla.
Here's the two. Okay, it's actually a. Oh, that's weird. This one is the one that you play against in
Sure.
the side event. This is the actual one.
Yeah.
It and the 7/4 give you Thaddeus. Summon an elemental with taunt. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Harrison Jones.
Mm-hmm.
A
And he
reference
actually
to
references snakes when you play him.
destroy your opponent's weapon and draw cards equal to its destruction. Wow, that's the best way to destroy your opponent's weapon.
Yep.
Wow, that's awesome.
This guy is not that new anymore. However, I do see him get played a lot. Beasts are a big problem.
Oh, there's Leroy Jenkins.
Oh, so he is a 6/2 for 5 instead of what was the other one?
5-3 for 4.
5/3 for 4. Okay. So
Your opponent does get 2 creatures, so he's
I
probably
get
gonna die
1
next.
ones as opposed to 2 2s, though, right?
The other one didn't give your opponent anything.
Oh, okay.
He's just more reliable. Lothad.
Probably one of the best ones ever printed. It's in a lot of competitive decks.
Yeah. I mean,
Whenever a
Which
player
one?
plays a card, does 2 damage to him.
I like that card a lot. Wow, that's a really good card. You're building your deck around it. 5 for an 8/8 is very competitive.
You know what? I think this is not a card you get. Because it says set Blackrock Mountain, and I think those are...
Oh.
I think those are the cards that are only in Blackrock Mountain.
Well, if they ever print that card, it's going to be awesome. Nope, there it is. Oh, you get a worse version. No, wait. That's the same
I'm
version.
not sure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
They get summoned. Never mind.
Yes, so... They really should say stuff like that. Like, this doesn't exist.
Would you play that?
I would play that.
It's actually a high risk, high reward card, and like it's actually not as good as it looks at first. Because if you don't have a way to get charged, your opponent can trade many cards for it.
And they can attack it.
No, they have to attack it. Oh, wow,
Yeah.
that's nice. That's actually better than that. Mimitron's head.
I'm pretty sure all of these. No, this is apparently a real card. At the start of your turn, if you have 3 mechs, destroy. Oh, apparently Voltron you can't cast. You have to assemble it.
That makes sense as to why it's super powerful.
Yep, and also makes sense flavorfully that you assemble it.
Yes, for
Add a random spell to your hand. I've seen a lot of people play this.
Yeah.
It does give you a free card
Sure.
every time.
Sure. I feel like some of the other cards are just better at lower rarities.
We already talked about this one.
Yep.
7-4. Swap the help with another minion. This is played in several decks.
Mm-hmm.
Gain 2 attack whenever your opponent plays a card.
It's nice because it's a 4 for 2/8, which is already close to playable on its own.
Yep.
And it's Archimedes, so it's from House Archimedes. Because it's from the Dune.
I didn't get that reference.
It might not be at all.
Death Rattle triggers twice. That one's pretty good. If you have to build around it.
Always win brawls. Add a brawl to your hand.
Oh,
Core and Dire Brew.
So add a brawl to your hand. The brawl says
They all fight, yeah.
they all fight and only one comes out.
And it's always him.
I haven't seen this one before.
It's from the Grand Tournament. I like it. It's one of those cards that's just very good across the board. It's not really asking you to do a lot. 4/4/4/4 when you want to play. Like, I would not wait on the Battle Cry. But if you draw it later, then it's a high upside 4/4.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good in a lot of spots. Cast Corruption on other minions.
I think Corruption kills them during their start of their next turn or something. Deal 1 damage to all their minions. We talked about this one. For each other card played, this guy gets pretty big.
Mm-hmm. Combo's a lot stronger too. There's a couple cards that you didn't see come out, but there were a couple of very strong combo cards in this set as well.
All spells cost 3 less. This one might not. No, this one is not a real card. This one is only in Black Rock Mountain. Also
Probably for the
only
best.
in Black Rock Mountain. This one is a real card. It's quite fun.
Hmm.
3 for a 3/4 is already good. If you manage to get this, you're doing pretty good.
The Light Bane and Dark Bane were excellent. And both of them are very competitive. These low-cost legendaries just have such a higher floor. Like, the point at which that they're bad is very low. They're almost always going to be very solid.
Also just in Black Rock Mountain.
All right, a whole other page.
Also just in Black Rock Mountain.
Yep. You got
Summon a random legendary. We talked about that.
Mhm.
Give your opponent 2 bananas. Bananas give a minion +1/+1. I think they
For
cost 1. Yeah.
It's all right. It's not great. Not bananas about the card.
Emperor.
Yeah, that's one of the mechanical cards.
Okay.
That's high risk, high reward for the Tinkermaster. That's a nice card.
Yeah, I've seen people play this one.
Replaces itself. Oh, there's the Vinkline Horn. Oh, wow, that makes the beast terrible.
It's a 3/3. That's it.
Yeah, it's a guy reaching at the beast.
Oh.
They're like trying to control it or whatever. Lore Walker Chat. Whenever a player casts a spell, put a copy into the other player's hand. That's awkward and weird
Mm-hmm.
and kind of hard to take advantage of.
Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of people play it, though. Enemy spells cost 0 next turn?
Wow, that's not playable at all.
I suppose it could be, but...
How you want to play it early, so you get the maximum advantage, and your opponent unloads their entire hand.
Oh, just spells, not creatures. Right?
Oh, okay.
Isn't that how that works?
Yeah, it does. I was mistaken. Still such a high risk card.
Mm-hmm. I don't play it. This one's pretty good.
Old Nat Pagel.
Now, usually you don't play this card. Usually you randomly get this card into play from some random ability that gives you a 2-drop.
That's cool.
There's a few cards like that.
I mean, I don't think Nat Pagel's good enough to play usually.
Also from Black Rock Mountain.
Black Rock Mountain.
Yeah,
Black Rock Mountain.
Rock Mountain.
Mr. Bigglesworth.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That's it.
So we are going to take a minute to reset the stream. We're going to do the magic stuff. We're going to grab some hot tea while I get it going. And we'll be back in like